Uh, Thank you for the invitation. It's really a great honor to be involved in this, workshop to present, the Jean Monnet actions. It's a little pleasure after, excellent presentation by Jenny. She really explained everything to you, and very focused on the Jean Monnet actions. I don't know whether you can hear me clearly. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let me share my presentation first. Presentation. Okay. So can you see my my presentations?
Yes.
Good. So today's the presentation is more about to do a little presentations about the Jean Monnet actions. I don't know how many of you already read through the program guide of Erasmus Plus. You might find there's actually a lot of information of Jean Monnet actions. And then what I want to share also is that is our experience, the Taiwan experience, and probably we help maybe we can help the colleagues to understand a little bit more on the Jean Monnet actions. So here you can see my contact. There's my Gmail. If you have any questions after today, you can still contact me for the further information. So next. Okay, so here is the Jean Monnet's actions, since 1989. So you can see almost the world is covered by the greens. Is the countries highlighted in greens have at least one Jean Monnet actions project since 1989. I don't know. I think I checked. The data, the 2001 to 2023. So far, I didn't see Sri Lanka on the map. So I think, probably it's also my contributions to remind you that actually, apart from, other Erasmus Plus program, the Jean Monnet actions actually fitting more for the colleagues, the faculty members who devote their time in teaching and also research. So you can tell that from 2001 to 2003, the Taiwan have a 31 Jean Monnet project. China 35, India have a 25, and Korea also have quite a lot of applications. But the most important is that so far we have a 6,932 Jean Monnet actions in the field. Then of course it's already over hundreds of countries worldwide already involved in the Jean Monnet actions. And of course, Erasmus they have the Jean Monnet have the individual and also for the institutions. The individual is more like the module chair, institution more like the center of excellence or the network. So once it comes to the networks, it probably involve more universities or higher education institutions. But among these actions, they are the individual actions like a chair and module, which actually don't have to cooperate with others. You can actually apply the Jean Monnet module or Jean Monnet chair. And of course, there's many universities involved so far. Then what exactly the Jean Monnet actions is about? It's actually about the higher education. It's about the education and training. It's about the policy debates. So these three main focus actually have the three different actions. Then The one I mentioned, chair module, and also the center of excellence is actually in the field of higher education. Is probably the most relevant, actions to all of you. And the other field of education and training is actually focusing more on the member states itself. But for the policy debates, each year they have a different focus. But sometimes, it actually can help colleagues cooperate with other university in other countries to compose a kind of a network together to have the policy debate assigned by the commissions based on the priority of the commission. So if we want to know about the Jean Monnet actions, so we probably have to know what's the scope they are focusing. And the EU dimension focus of Jean Monnet action is actually on the active European citizenship and also founding value of the European Union. Of course, it's not only the higher education, but also the policy debates focus. So it's a little bit want to promote, the EU, citizenship and also the value of the European Union. It's not that difficult to include human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, and rule of law, and the perspective of human rights into the courses. Because if you talk about the European integrations, you can actually, easily see, how the EU develop on the rule of law. If you're focusing on the EU citizenship, that the freedom, democracy, equality is actually very easily found into the EU studies. Then for the policy focus, of course, EU, particular commission, they have their policy focus. They try to promote a little bit, the EU. So they expect the people who actually get the EU funding can actually help to spreading knowledge about how the policy of EU and how this policy can benefits the daily lives of citizens. So this kind of experience sharing is also important, through the Jean Monnet actions. So the most important is that go through this kind of people-to-people exchanges, also higher education formations. The EU expect the EU's policy knowledge can also influence the policy making system not only to the member state but also abroad. It's not only national or regional but to the global level. That's how the EU work, right? Then of course the Jean Monnet is a little bit like the public diplomacy focus. Go through the higher education process. The EU expect the Jean Monnet action can actually become a kind of public diplomacy instrument to promote the EU value. Of course, we make very clear to the EU, same side that university don't do the propaganda. But we did share or criticize. EU is actually quite open. It's not only we talk about something good about EU, but we can also by criticizing some part of EU to demonstrate the EU value. So it's never a propaganda per se. It's actually more like kind of open spaces. There's no limit. It's kind of academic discussions to make the people, be aware about what's the EU and the EU studies doing. Of course, once it's an EU project, it's actually have a scope on the EU. Not, you definitely can talk about more, essential parts of the concept that, sometimes EU is a must into the scope. Then while we see, the EU also lists some kind of, goal for their, Jean Monnet actions. They want to promote the excellence in teaching. They want to generating the knowledge and the insights. They want to reach the new people, to actually not only the academics. They want to go beyond the academics and go beyond the audience at the campus and bringing the EU knowledge closer to the society in the process. They want to have the dialogue, between the academic and society, policymakers, civil servants, civil society, representative of different level of education, and the media. So it's never only the courses at the campus, but also how you actually have your influence beyond the campus. Then, as I mentioned, it's a kind of public diplomacy to actually enhance the visibility of EU's goal and achievement. So what you can apply for the Jean Monnet actions, probably, there's the people concerned, what exactly can I apply, from the Jean Monnet actions? The most, probably the most frequent three actions, you can apply is the module, chair, and center of excellence. And among these three particular, the module and chair, they are individual, as I mentioned. So module chair is probably more fitting, the colleagues probably in the Zoom today. And the entry level, I would say, for the actions probably is in the module. So because module is the course, I believe there's a lot of colleagues already have the EU-related, courses at the university or in the higher education institutions. So congratulations, you are already qualified, to apply the module because you already have the courses, or even you don't have the courses now, but you are willing to have the EU courses on, EU-related topic. But probably you need, something to convince the university or department or the graduate institute. They say that, I can have the credit to offer the EU-related courses. Then, if you got, the module that you can convince the university or the department of, to actually have the EU courses at the university. The chair is again is more like a personal award to the professor who devote their time in teaching and also research. So the chair is more like a personal award to the faculty who actually contribute to the EU study and teaching for a long time. So the chair could be kind of second level of the Jean Monnet actions. Then once you got the chair, means that at least at university, you probably are not alone. You are probably the senior professor who actually contribute to the EU studies, but it means that they are the student who actually apply the EU courses. They are the young faculty. Probably they also want to already have the module. So you probably can consider to apply the Center of Excellence. It's more institutional arrangement that the university become a hub for the EU study and also research in the countries. Of course, you don't have to be the chair. You can apply the Center of Excellence. There used to be, you must, the university must have a chair. They can have a Center of Excellence, but now it's not the case. Any university who believe that they probably have a, a strong, or very committed to the EU studies, they can apply the Center of Excellence. Of course, have a module or have a chair. It's a plus, but it's not a must. So any higher education, institution in the world can apply. That's, this, of course, now have some exception. Belarus and the Russia Federation, they now is actually not included into any of the, Erasmus plus actions. So this is a call open to the world, to all the higher education institutions. So definitely, Sri Lanka is one of uh, country who can apply. Then for the policy debate, we mentioned the third pillar is more like the networks. But the networks is actually at least have a 12 higher education institutions from applicants. Means that at least there are 12 university uh, to apply, not only the member state, but also to the third countries. So means that, Sri Lanka definitely can apply the network, but you need to find a partner, in the member state and also in your region, in your countries, to at least have the 12 universities, to apply. So I would say that, the policy debate probably is the level up, you probably need to devote more time to do the networking and assure that there are 12 higher education institutions can join together to apply. But don't forget, I say the policy debate every year they probably have a different focus. For example, in 2024 means that this year, even though the application deadline already passed, but you can see there are three networks. So there's networks on the economy that works for people. But you see the B and C, they will be focused on the EU Latin America, EU Africa, theme. So each year they have a different focus. We just wonder if probably next year, there will be a focus on the EU Asia, linguists. It's not confirmed yet, but it's very have a high percentage that since they already have EU Latin America, EU Africa, why not to have a EU Asia? So we definitely, will keep an eye on the new call of the Jean Monnet action on the policy debate on the new work. If you are interested, definitely you can also very join us, to apply next year for the new work. So here are some, more detail about these three action module chair and the center of excellence. So the year of duration is all 3 years. You can tell that they are the limit for the limit of the years of the EU project. Then you see the grants, module, the maximum EU grant is 35,000 euro and chair is 60,000 euro. And the centers of excellence is up to 100,000 euro. But you see, the course type is different. One is a lump sum, the fixed lump sum. Another is the customized lump sum. The difference is that the module and chair is counted by the teaching hour. So each country they have, if you see the program guideline that you will see, the EU actually help you to have a quick understanding, how many teaching hours, then how much money you get. So the module will be the minimum 40 teaching hour per academic year. So it's actually it's not so difficult, right? So now, for example, in Taiwan, we have a 16 weeks for teaching. So usually 2 hours, per week. So it's equal to 32 hour per semester. Then you will have if you have one course is with 2 hours per week, then a year you will have a 64 teaching hours. So it's relatively easy. But if you see the chair will have to have a minimum 90 hours per academic year. Means that at least you have to have two courses with 2 hours per week. So it means that means you at least 4 hours per week. Then academic year you can up to the 90 hours. And of course, there's some extra hour like that you have a seminar, you have a workshop. They also could be included into the teaching hours. But for the Center of Excellence, it's a different scheme. It actually depends on how you design the project. What do you want this hub become? You want probably you will have the publications. You will have the published book. Then you will organizing a regular seminar, regular workshop, or you can even organizing the exhibitions. It depends on the work package. If you, I don't know whether you see the application form the EU provide. There's two things. One is online. Another is that you need to attach a Word type form into the online system to submit the proposal. And the proposal including all kind of information the EU require. Later on, we'll probably let you see the form provided by the EU. Will actually be attachments of the online applications. So why you should apply for the Monnet actions? As I mentioned that the module actually can help to provide the students have a more EU-related courses. Means that if you try to have a higher visibility of the EU in the countries, usually there should be a kind of a demand from the students who want to know more about the EU, right? But sometimes that probably students they have so many options when they select courses. So the module actually is that you actually have a specific topic for the EU related courses who can help students to actually pay attention to that aspect of EU policies or EU integrations. For example, in Taiwan, when when the Brexit happened, the people all the students are interested to know what exactly the relation between EU and the UK. Then they are the demands of the student want to know what's the UK's relation with EU. So even the Brexit is not that positive for the EU, but it rests the awareness or the interest of the student or the audience, to know better about this topic. So the module could be focusing on from actually you want to talk about the EU integrations. The UK has never been at the beginning as a founding member, but they joined the EU. Then why the UK wants to leave, and exactly can prove that there is actually several steps of the EU integrations. So the module actually can help the student to have a better understanding about the EU related courses. It's actually probably the demand from the student. They want to know more about the current issues. Then now the Ukrainians, want to be the new members of the European Union. So what exactly the criteria for the access to the EU could be, the interest of the students. So if you have a module on the specific topic, probably not only can provide students of more EU-related courses, but also can actually help the student to explore some topic that probably at the beginning they are not paying attention to. Then the chair actually can help to attract more faculty to devote into the EU teaching and studies. The chair can actually kind of interest to for the faculty who keep, having the EU-related courses, or encourage the faculty to focus on their own studies. Then once you have a kind of personal wall of chair, actually probably can consolidate, the faculty, career that, is, that, the now university all require internationalization, right? So have a title from a higher education group, for example, EU, to to show to the university that it's an honor for the faculty can apply. Then probably also can help university in so-called quality of internationalizations. And not mention about Center of Excellence also will be help the EU study more visible, to the different colleges. And they work, even though it's very, very difficult, at least 12 university have been involved. That's the minimum. For example, we just last year we joined one network, on the role of the EU in the Indo-Pacific, identify the regional policy responses toward the EU strategy. Is involved 26 partner. Then this 26 partner is actually, 14 of them is from the Asia Pacific area. Another 12 partners is actually from the European, university. So by joining this kind of network, actually it's not only you have the network within your country, but within your region, and also have a kind of global corporations together to actually focus on the studies of the EU. So it will be kind of win-win-win impact. The student can enroll more EU-related courses at campus, or even choose Europe as a study abroad destinations. Because the more they understand Europe, probably they can, explore the higher, interest in study, in Europe. And then, there's more departments will be more willing to offer the EU-related courses, because, the module actually also can benefit, the department to recruit the students. Not only the recruit the students, but also recruit the new faculty of the EU study to the department. Then when there's a more faculty or researcher within the university, then they probably will be have a more engagement with the Europe. Then how can I get the EU additional Monnet actions? Of course, you all know that EU is very transparent. If you see the program guideline, you will see all kind of instructions, all kind of indicator. What exactly how they will score your proposal. So this is the four important indicators. The relevance of the project, whether your project is relevant to the EU studies. The quality of the project design and the implementation, the quality of the partnership and cooperation arrangement, and most important, the impact and dissemination and the sustainability. What exactly you can bring, by your actions to contribute to, the EU, policy or EU studies. So these four indicators equal to 25 points, so equal to 100 points. Then the minimum of a successful award is 70. 100 points, at least you must have a 70. But if you check those actions who get the award, is usually much higher. I would say much higher. Then the tips for applications, you can list some tips from the EU. to just, they say probably there are some guideline for you to understand what is the good application. So 3C, be clear, be concrete, be coherent. You must be, don't write something very complicated. Must be crystal clear. You answer to the questions directly. Don't complicate the answer. Then be concrete. Have some philosophical debates is good, but the EU they like something concrete. So you can maximum. Then you have to show an example. You have to justify your claim. You provide the evidence to convince the judges and also the commissions, and be coherent. Avoid contradiction, and don't cut and pass. Your content. So these 3Cs actually is very important. And then keep it simple. They have the limits of the word you can put into the applications. So it's not a long essay. So you must be a very simple, focus, then be realistic. Sometimes you probably will say, okay, I want to do something, no one do that. So it's a really gigantic, achievement. Don't do that. Even for the publications. I know a lot of colleagues probably say, okay, I will publish, 3 articles in the SSCI, journals. But we all know it's very difficult. But once you put into the project, you have to do that. So don't put in something like 5 books, published. We all know it's not that easy. So be realistic. Then don't forget to double check your proposal. Make sure you follow all the instructions of a proposal and meet all the mandatory, requirements. I check, the results of the Monnet actions in 2023 in the region 5. There's us, region 5, including Sri Lanka, then also Pacific. So you can see that 67 total project in the 2023. So if you don't know what kind of a project is a good project, you can check the results, searching, portal. So here is the link. So it's Erasmus Plus .ce.europa.eu/ projects. So you can go to this portal to see what a good proposal sounds like. Then this the information. I actually go through these results. Then you'll find that in 2003 in the Asia Pacific, Australia have 11 project, China have 11. So at least all the university who get the project, and for those university in red is that they get at least over 1 project, probably get 2 or probably get like 3. So they are probably a good partner if you want to have the network, or if you want to learn more about the Jean Monnet actions. So you can take a look at those universities. As I say, I didn't see the Sri Lanka, but I'm sure probably we'll see Sri Lanka soon on the list. Then mention about Taiwan experience. The ENFP Taiwan is actually located in National Taiwan University. Is one of the top university in Taiwan. So we have an EU center in Taiwan. It's also an EU project. Then we have 3 Jean Monnet chair. We have a Jean Monnet module. Then we have the double degree, master degree with European University. So we try to serve as a hub because actually the hub will also help us once we are applying the Monnet actions, we are easy to find a convincing, project, detail. For example, if we can, based on the 3 Monnet chair we have, we can invite them to be involved in the Monnet actions, probably to apply the Monnet Center of Excellence, even we already have, but continually to convince the commission to award NTU the Jean Monnet Center of Excellence. So to well connect to your nation's the network or partner is also important. For example, in Taiwan, we have a 7 Jean Monnet chair. Each chair have a different specific, background. So based on the background, we can also find a good topic we can work on. Then this is the regional network I mentioned. Is again, it's all about the partnership. So once you build on, some kind of, Jean Monnet actions, then you got a module, you got the chair, you got the center actions. Probably it's also good to have this kind of regional partnership. And this some example we have during the last year we work on the kind of regional cooperation on the student workshop. It's a doctoral student workshop. So all those things you actually can help us to better understand how other countries conduct Jean Monnet actions, and we can learn experience from them. And there's a USA AP European Union Study Associations in the Asia Pacific. Definitely you are welcome to join. You might meet the colleagues in Indonesia or from the regions. They are all the colleagues or the student who actually devote into the EU studies. So it's a kind of good opportunity to do the networking in person. Then if we see, 2024, this annual budget, you'll see that, the higher education, the teaching activity are still the biggest parts. So module chair center of excellence is probably usual focusing so far. Then if we see the result, the module, even though, the successful rate is not that high, but we have for example, 2003, we have 1,125 applicants receive, only 402, being, selected. Among them, a module is the 231, selected, and chair have 69. So you can tell that, module definitely is the entrance, action for you all. Then even though the deadline, I say is passed this year, but means that you have a full year, this year, coming year, and by the end of November of this year, probably there will be publication of a call 2025. Then usually in the February, there will be the deadline for submission. So you have a whole year to prepare the Jean Monnet actions. So here are the document you can find. Here the link. I think you already see Jenny have some kind of link provide you the funding and the tender portal. There's a good access to all the information. And as I mentioned that, probably I will show you the application form to make you have a few understanding about what exactly you will see or what you will have to do, once you fill in the form. So let me share the form. It actually can download from the internet. Okay. I don't know whether you see this. Okay, application form. Most of the application have to go through the online. You have to go to the funding and the tender portal. Then you must have your own account to apply for the Jean Monnet actions. Then but I cannot show you, the online parts, but there are, application form you have to attach, go through the online, systems. And if you download these templates, you will see, um, roughly, what should you, fitting into the project, proposal. Of course, you must have a name, you have the acronyms, for example, the module, you can say, um, I mean, EU integrations, experience. Then you name, the project, acronyms. Then you have to, as I say, according to the questions, then try to fit into the proposal. The relevance, so you can provide, the background and the general objective, they are, some indicator in the guideline, but again, in this application form, there will be some question to remind you what exactly you should put into the relevance, how this project relevant to the scope of the call, how does this call address to the general objective of the call, and what is the project contribution to this priority of the call. Then there are, the questions. It's not just like it's not an essay, but you have to answer to all the questions if it's eligible. The quality, what kind of concept, what kind of methodology you kind of do implement, the module, how you manage the project, quality assurance, monitoring, how, the judge can know that, you can well implement, the project. For example, you can say that, the number of students enrolled in every year. There's a quality assurance. There's also a way to monitor, whether this is a good, proposal or not. Then, they are all the questions that just follow, the questions. And risk management, for example, during the COVID, if you cannot have an in-person, course, how you can do with that, of course, now we know that, online, courses is one of our options, but, how you can, mitigate, the risk is also, one of the questions. So there are, very clear Q&A, so you can, you have to answer the questions. The better you answer, clear, simple, you hit the questions, probably can let the judges know that, you are qualified to the actions. I think, the time is quite limited. Probably I'll stop here. I don't know whether you have other questions. You are welcome to ask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mark. So there is a question in our chat box. Do Jean Monnet actions have to have a connection with European culture, history, or law? Mr. Mark,
Yes.
can you guide us?
Yes, EU studies is not limited to political or economic, social. It's actually cultural is also part of the scope. And we could, apply the, from the different or even interdiscipline, approach, but the scope must be related to the EU. For example, if you talk about culture, all right? For example, there's a cultural heritage of the EU policy. So you can create a module to introduce about the EU cultural heritage. Of course, sometimes you'll touch upon the member states case by case, right? But don't forget that you have to make a design to convince the judges is not only about the members states, it's under the framework of EU cultural policy. Even though it's not that directly be seen that easily, but definitely you must touch upon the EU agricultural policy. Then you can have a case study on the member states. Then it could be the cultural or other topic. Then the political or foreign policy part.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marc. There is another question. What are the programs related to school level curriculum development and teacher training related to Ching Monnet action?
Sorry, again?
Yeah, okay. What are the programs related to school level curriculum development and teacher training related to Ching Monnet action?
Okay, that project is actually not, we are not eligible for the formation of a teacher. So that's why I didn't mention the pillar 2. I only mentioned the higher education, then also the policy debates. These 2 are actually we are eligible for apply. But for the program related to the school level curriculum and the teacher training, we are not eligible for that. But basically, it's a formation of a teacher, helping to train the teacher at junior or senior high school, then know more about how to teach EU. I think the concept is that there are so many projects outside of the of Europe on enlightening the students what is EU about. But sometimes the member states, for the elementary, secondary, educations, they are not, they probably don't know, or they don't have the information to teach the EU. So they try to using the Roman actions to actually correct this, or to help the secondary school teachers to be able to teach students about the EU.